Hi there, my name is Nick Wiedenhoff, and here's my Capstone final research project that I worked on. Here's a website. I use Google Sites to develop this, to share all my information with you. My school district's been using Google Apps for, I want to say, about 3 or 4 years now. They kind of gone all in. Slowly, we've been incorporating, trying to get down to a 1-to-1 ratio with Chromebooks. And that's been very beneficial in my classroom, just being able to use that and incorporating technology into my classroom and all the resources that I can use to help benefit my students. So up here, I have my tabs listed here to see. I'll start with my overview here and the rationale. For my project, I decided to focus on self-directed learning. I kept looking, when thinking about what I wanted to do, looking at it, I felt like there was a lot of times where in my class, I'm leading the class, not so much lecturing, but whether it's they're working on a project or things like that, I've kind of created everything for them, and I thought this was just kind of an interesting topic and teaching strategy to use, and I wanted to get a little bit more information on it and see just the benefits of it and how it would kind of look in a classroom. So I decided, like I said before, self-directed learning. I thought it provided opportunities to teach students at their own pace and interest. You can see my rationale up here. And as mentioned before, it kind of, instead of them listening to me lecture, there's some times where I'm up there lecturing. This really puts a lot of ownership on the students and makes them become responsible, really, for what they're getting accomplished in classes. Goals for this: teacher goals, be able to create a Google Classroom that can incorporate websites, videos, slides, and forms. I will be able to facilitate the learning, and I will provide resources for students to assist in their learning. When looking at this, thinking about what topic I could really incorporate this with, I'm going to use it for my Nutrition for Life lessons. Their students are they're learning about reading a food label, learning about the different nutrients that are out there. We do a fast food investigation where they investigate a meal of their choice from 2 different restaurants and look at different how many calories, all the nutritional information that makes up their food items. So I thought that would be a good starting point when I actually try to incorporate this in to my classes. Student goals would be: students will be successfully complete a unit through Google Classroom. Students will be able to self-direct their own learning, and students will be able to create their own final project. The final project would be the fast food investigation. I kind of already create kind of a template for them to use, but I kind of think to help them in the 21st century skills, creation and creativity, I think that students would be just fine being able to decide kind of what that final project, what they want to make it look like. And down here are standards that'll be addressed. Some health content standards. Standard 1, students will comprehend concepts related to health promotion and disease prevention to enhance health. Standard 3, students will demonstrate the ability to access valid information, products, and services to enhance health. And Standard 7, students will demonstrate the ability to practice health-enhancing behaviors and avoid or reduce health risks. Through this, I won't go through all of these standards, technology standards here, but I can hit the main ones. For the students, Standard 1, creativity and innovation. This would be kind of creating their own projects, final projects, cooperating with other students during this time. Standard 2, communication and collaborations. Using digital media and environments to communicate and work collaboratively, including at a distance, to support individual learning and contribute to the learning of others. 3, research and information fluency. Apply digital tools to gather, evaluate, and use information. And Standard 4, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. Using critical thinking skills to plan and conduct research, manage projects, solve problems, and make informed decisions using appropriate digital tools and resources. And then standards for the teachers: Standard 1, facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. And Standard 2, design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. This is my timeline for the project in general. That's on here. I won't go through it with you, but just my timeline to get this done. And then the impact I think that this will have on my students and in my classroom, I just think it'll make the learning more meaningful to students, which will allow them to retain the information at higher rates. It also allows them to pursue a far wider range of interest on particular topics. If they're more interested in reading food labels, if they already know kind of the nutrients about it, so they're more interested in just reading a variety of food labels, for example, or if they're more interested in what makes up a carbohydrate, what kind of foods. I think this really gives them a chance to actually look at that and what they want to really investigate more on. And then I also think that through this self-directed learning, students can make real-world connections with the material. Obviously, for this lesson, the Nutrition for Life lesson that I'm planning on using this for, the real life is there. Obviously, they're already eating the fast foods. They're already eating certain foods as it is, so they can kind of easily make those connections. But I think if they have the ownership for it, they can really make the connections even more. And here's some resources that from my research that can help facilitate self-directed learning. Google Classroom, I have this set up. I have links here. If you were to click on these, the links would open up to the websites and give you tell you kind of how to set them up. Google Classroom, I use that a lot for student work, and it's very easy to post material for the students. It's also easy to collect the material. When I first started teaching and using Google Forms, for example, you had to write the whole entire URL out for the kids or make bit.lys and things like that to reduce it. And then with Google Classroom, I can quickly post a form and kids can click on the link. And even student work, whether it's a writing assignment or some other sort of project, students can all turn things into there. So instead of myself getting hundreds of papers from kids, they're doing the writing on the Chromebooks. They're turning it into Google Classroom. It's all organized in a certain folder, and I think it's great and very useful for teachers to use. Also, the Remind app can also help with this, to send updates to parents and students on upcoming dates and assignments. Depending on whatever the topic is, if students have to meet this certain standard, that's a way to just remind them. As with self-directed learning, students are in charge here of making sure they get everything done. So a Remind app is a great resource to use. Skype, this is going to connect with other students around the world. If you were doing a lesson on different cultures and you were trying to Skype across the world, or even kids are working on something with their partners in their classes and one's sick for the day or they're trying to work on it at home, Skype's a great app to use to just talk through a problem or talk about the project at the time. Blogs also are great for self-directed learning, and it can help you collaborate with other students. YouTube, where you can share content, whether this is an option that students could have for their final project, maybe make a YouTube video showing what their research showed about their fast food, nutritional information. Google Docs and slides, these are things that you can use to post just to give the kids the material, and also it's another way for them to report their findings. If they're typing, like I said before, typing up a document or something along those lines, a paper, they can use that. Google Forms is a great resource to use as well to collect data. This way you can kind of see with self-directed learning if you are concerned about using it in your classroom, you can use a Google form quickly, maybe after a day or two of it, and see, are the students actually retaining the information and understanding what's being asked of them. And then Quizlet is another resource you can use. Students can create their own Quizlets. They can share it with each other and other students. I can make a Quizlet as well to assist with that. Also up here, the Watch tab here, this is where I will post this video. If there's nothing there. My bibliography also up here that I will finishing up right now with all the resources that I have used in here. And then lastly, my reflection. One overall, Capstone's been a great experience for me. The research, being able to research a topic that I am interested in and want to go a little bit more in depth is very beneficial. I think self-directed learning has many benefits, and benefits that I found through my research here. It's kind of a stress-free approach to learning. Whether the students, maybe they don't want to get up in front of the class, or they feel uncomfortable in class, or they don't want to read in front of the class. That's a stress-free way, and they can manage on their own time. Students can focus on useful information that they don't already possess and they don't have access through passive observations. Self-directed learning also helps students in encoding information and retaining it over time. Through the research, studies have shown that students were able to pick up the information and actually retain it at high rates. So there wasn't, maybe you might think there's a drop-off from that, but from the studies I've researched, there was not. Learners have flexibility and freedom to design and structure their learning that meets their individual needs. So whether it's they're sick for a day, they can learn at home, they can get the information at home, or if they need to kind of focus on one aspect of a lesson, they're able to do that, and they kind of have that freedom that best meets their needs. They know themselves the best and what's going to work for them, so this gives them the opportunity to use that. They control the pace of their learning, so if they want to spend more time on whatever the subject is, looking at when I'm going to use it for Nutrition for Life, like I said before, if they were interested in carbohydrates, or if they were interested in just reading multiple food labels and analyzing them, they can kind of focus on those things while still meeting the overall goal and the curriculum that is required. And self-directed learning can also prepare students for the real world outside of the classroom. Once they get done, the ultimate goal is trying to get them ready for their future. So making them responsible, making them helping them make those real life connections. With self-directed learning, students are getting the flexibility and information they're interested in, and allowing them to be more creative in demonstrating that material. From research studies, students retain information at higher rates. And the skills that are going to be acquired, through this collaboration, working with others, the real world connections are going to be made, and through this class, and really masters in general, I learned new ways to incorporate these specific technology resources, Google Classroom, Skype, and blogs. I haven't really used a lot of Skype or blogs in my classroom, but through doing research on that, I think it's going to be a great way for students to express and demonstrate their understanding of the material through the multiple lessons through that. And through my research, I also believe that self-directed learning will be very beneficial to my students. Okay, they will retain information at higher rates. They get to pace their learning, which I continue to say, and I think that's pretty big. They can sometimes, I know we can class time might be shorter if there's an assembly or things like that, so this kind of helps them pace their learning, and it's going to prepare them for their future. And overall, like I said before, I didn't incorporate a lot of self-directed learning lessons into my own classroom. I think when I first started out teaching, everybody wants to have control of their classes, so this was kind of interesting to sit back and look, and I've gone through many professional development opportunities, and you hear about things and different strategies, and you don't really get the chance to actually research them, so it was kind of fun to get the chance to research this. And I think the benefits, there's just so many benefits to self-directed learning that I stated up here in the beginning here, that it's only going to help the students, and it's going to make a positive impact on student learning. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.